Konnichiwa everybody, and welcome back to another pickups episode. I'm so behind on my pickups. Just been that busy lately. It's too hot. I've probably got, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe pickups videos that I need to do. But anyway, this is the first one anyway. We'll crack on. We've got a mixed bag. A few different consoles we've got today. It's a bit of a Bertie Bassett. We've got Spectrum. Yes, you heard right. Spectrum. Xbox 360, GameCube, a 3DO, Saturn, Dreamcast and a PlayStation. So, we'll go Spectrum first, I think. I picked this one up purely because of a video I watched of Stu's retro reviews. He did a playthrough on this one. It's called Xeno. It's kind of a speedball game, if you can tell on the back there. We just watch Stu's video. I'll put a link in the description if I can remember. Looked a real fun game, to be honest, which is why I bought this. Unfortunately it won't load, so I'm none the wiser regards playing it, and hence why I've got no footage for this one. It did look cool, so check Stu's video out. Looked really good for the Spectrum. Shame it didn't work really. I can't be bothered sending it back. It was only £3 posted, so. Then we've got a manual, and this is thanks to David Tyler Games Hunter, who had a few manuals and boxes he was getting rid of, and he's kindly sent this to me for nothing. Didn't even want the postage, so cheers mate, thanks very much, much appreciated. So now I've got a complete Arctic Thunder. And again, Dave's got a great channel. I'll put a link in the description to his channel as well. Go check him out. He does some good pickups, and he wins some amazing stuff on Facebook auctions. So go check him out. So I was chuffed to get that and complete my game. Sticking with the Xbox, this was I did a CEX roulette on this one. Been a few weeks now. I mean, it's a rare game. I didn't know it actually existed until I'm sure it was Goldtooth who picked this up a couple of months ago, which alerted me to it, and I've been looking for it ever since. And it's not an easy one to come by. A lot of these tend to be in Europe, and it's really cheap on CEX in comparison, but they've never got it in stock. But anyway, I set an alert up, and then lo and behold, this one came into stock, and we've got Ski Racing 2005. You can pay like 20 to 30 quid for this on eBay, and I think it's £4 in CEX or something. So it was a no-brainer to buy it. Unfortunately, there was no manual. But it's that rare and that cheap in CEX, you know, it was a no-brainer to keep it. If I can pick a manual up, great, or maybe find another one in CEX, you know, that comes with a manual, I'll swap it. But I'll put some footage up for these games now. This is bloody good. Really surprised me how good this is. Plays fantastic. If you like your arcade races, you can't go wrong with this. There's a 2006 version as well, which again is equally as rare, and again is equally cheap in CEX, but they've never got it. So I definitely want that one. But honest, Ski Racing 2005 in this instance, what a brilliant game. It looks great, plays great. Kind of the skiing game I always wanted, really. You you know, you can get Alpine Racer on the PS2, but it's not as good as this in my opinion. Brilliant game. Right, 360 now. I think this was CX I picked this up from, and I'd never heard of it before. And it's called Baja Edge of Control. Now this is one of those pronunciation conundrums that a lot of things seem to have since I watched Sean's video, Retro Games Revived. You know, cracking video about pronunciation of game titles, but this is another one, isn't it? Is it Baja? Baja? I've always pronounced it Baja, I don't know. But anyway, it's like an off-road racing game, in like beach buggies. And gotta say, I was a bit disappointed with this one. It don't look bad, as you'll see from the footage, and it is complete and it's in nice condition, and I think it was £3 in CEX. It just don't play that well. The clue is in the title really, Edge of Control, because that's kind of what you feel like. It is on the edge of control. I'm going to give it a bit more time, and there is a PS4 version of this which is quite cheap. I'm tempted to try and find that, because I like the premise. Maybe they've tweaked the controls a bit, I don't know, but for £3 it's not bad, to be honest. It's no world beater. Then in the same CEX, happened to see this one. I previously picked this up on the PS3 as kind of a placeholder, because I was after the 360 version. And then I saw this one. Again, this was £3 I think. And it's in absolutely beautiful condition. And we've got Dirt Showdown. Now this is a lot less serious than the other Dirt games. It's more like Dirt 5 in my opinion on the PS4. I think it's really, really good. Really like Dirt Showdown. You'll see a bit of footage. It's a cracking arcade sort of rally racer. Can't go wrong with it. Chuffed to find it in such good nick for £3 to be honest. I'm after a couple of the others on 360. I think Dirt. I can't remember now. I've either got Dirt 2 and I need Dirt 3, or vice versa. I can't remember. But yeah, you can't go wrong for the money with that one, in my opinion. Next we've got GameCube, and this came about through me doing my recent GameCube collection video, and it then got me looking on eBay, you know, if there was anything cheap about really, and I bought this. Now there's quite a few of these. It's baseball, but there's quite a few of these Japanese baseball games on the GameCube. Japanese exclusive, as far as I'm aware. I'd already got a Namco one. This is a Konami one. There's more Konami ones, and it's GQ. Well, I'll let you read it there. It's a GQ Baseball 10 basically. But there's quite a few, like I say, 8, 9, 10. There's a few. I can't remember them all. Really quite good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Japanese text. It's all Japanese. There's no English at all, and it is quite difficult to, you know, even hit the ball. Never mind score runs. But it does play nicely and it looks nice. I do like the Japanese style of these baseball games, as you'll see in the clip. It is a shame there's so much text, because I haven't got a clue, you know, what all the options are, and there are lots. But fortunately, you know, when you get the game on, you know, baseball's baseball, and you swing the bat and hit the ball. It's pretty simple. If only you could hit the ball, it would be even better. But anyway, it was cheap. I think it was less than a tenner. You know, if you like your baseball games, it's not too bad, to be honest. Now this one, again, this was another cheap one. I had got the UK version of this, but you know, the Japanese boxes are so cool, aren't they? And we've picked up Dance Dance Revolution Mario. It's Mario Mix, I think, on PAL. I've got the big box version with the dance mat on PAL. But you don't need the dance mat, to be fair. Obviously it adds something to it, but you can play it perfectly well with a controller. Cracking game. I played through the PAL version a few years ago. It's fairly straightforward. Obviously it's aimed at kids, but I think you can complete it in under an hour. But it is a cracking little game. Thoroughly recommend it if you like this kind of thing. You'll see what it's like anyway, but it's the same as other Dance Dance Revolution games, just with the Mario theme. But yeah, for the money, not bad at all. I don't think the PAL one is that cheap, unfortunately, and this is all in Japanese text again. But you know, you can work your way through it. But if you can grab the PAL one at a good price, definitely one to look out for. Last GameCube title now. This is one I had years and years ago and sold, and I kind of regretted it for ages, and I've been looking for another one, but I've just never come across one, and I've picked up Sega Soccer Slam. This is the US version. I'm pretty sure it's out, PAL. But it's just a mad arcade, over the top football game. It's kind of similar to Soccer Brawl on the Neo Geo, but it's perhaps a bit more. The pitch is quite small and it's quite a confined space, and it's only 3-on-3, I think. But it plays great. There's a large fighting element to it. You know, you can beat the opponents up if they've got the ball to get it off them, and then obviously you can try and pass and score yourself. Graphics are nice, plays really well. I'm not sure on PAL prices, but I don't know why I sold it in the first place, to be honest. It's a really good game. You know, typical Sega, really. So, you know, I'm chuffed to have that one back. It's really, really good. Hopefully the clip will show, you know, how mad and over the top it is. But it's a really fun game. That, you know, you ain't got to like football to play it. It's just a good, great arcadey, you know, quick play game. Fantastic. Right. Now we're on to the 3DO. I don't pick up 3DO games very often. As I said the last time I picked a 3DO game up. I was mad into the 3DO when it came out. It was such an amazing console. You know, it was such a massive leap from the SNES and Mega Drive going to a 3DO. It was, you know, it's hard to believe now, but at that time, it was just a ginormous leap, and it was just an amazing looking thing. It was just so damn expensive, nobody could afford one, which I think is part of the reason it failed. And then obviously the Saturn and PlayStation came out, and that was the final nail in the coffin, if you like. But anyway, this is a Japanese exclusive, and it's one I wasn't even aware of at the time. It came out in '95, which is before the Saturn and PlayStation came out, so it wasn't the case that I'd moved on to the newer consoles, and that's why I never played this. I just, for whatever reason, I never even knew it was available. Now it's quite rare to find it now, to be honest. Probably don't help that it's Japanese exclusive, and it's not particularly cheap either. It's 50 to 60 quid game, and obviously with the passing of time, I was thinking, well, it's going to be a bit shit, to be honest, this kind of game on a 3DO. So I was reluctant to buy an original, so I bought a repro. And I'm talking about Autobahn Tokyo. Now this is kind of like Ridge Racer on the 3DO. But the 3DO, you know, it was great for many things, but it wasn't really very good for racers, especially arcade racers. Once you take away arguably the two best games on the system, Road Rash and Need for Speed, there was pretty much no other racing games on it that was any good anyway. You had Mega Race and Crash and Burn, but you know, they were quite limited. So to have a fully fledged Ridge Racer style arcade racer would have been amazing at the time. But as you'll see from the clip, I mean, it looks alright, but it certainly don't look great these days. And I'm glad I didn't buy the original, really. Because it plays okay, but it looks sort of okay. At the time it probably would have looked quite good, but it don't look that great now, and the frame rate's not particularly good. But it's really interesting to play it after all these years, and it's a real curiosity really to be able to play a game like that on the 3DO these days. But I couldn't recommend paying the 50 or 60 quid to buy it if, you know, on original. But if there's some way you can emulate it or get a repro, you know, it's definitely worth a play just to experience it really. That's Autobahn Tokyo. I said it the last time I picked up a 3DO game, but I'm going to do it at some point. I'm going to do a 3DO video because it's such a great system that is largely forgotten by many. Because unless you were there at the time and experienced it, it's quite easily forgotten, I suppose. But it's a great system. Yeah, it's showing its age, and some of the games now look bad because what was thought of as the future then didn't turn out to be. But we'll get to that in a future episode. Right, Saturn. This is the biggest section. Because I'm on this Saturn kick, as you know, if you've been watching the previous episodes. And this is another CEX roulette that I did do a short for, and it's Andretti Racing. Now, obviously this is a PAL game, and I don't buy PAL games, but I've been after this one for some time. It's one I played back in the day, but I don't think I ever owned it. But I'd got, in my memory, it was a reasonably good game at the time. So I was curious to try it again now to see how it's aged. I've never seen this Japanese on the Saturn. I don't know if it is available, to be honest. I've seen it Japanese on the PlayStation, which I've almost bought in the past. But my experience with the EA Japanese games is that they're solely Japanese text, so that put me off, to be honest. Hence, I've bought this PAL Saturn because it's cheap in CX. I think it was a £5, and it came through in great condition, aside from the disc, which has been resurfaced now. But as you'll see from the footage, it's aged quite well, to be honest. It still plays pretty well. Obviously, you know, it looks like racers do of that era, rough around the edges compared to modern standards. But it is a good game. So, if you can find it for a £5 in CX, I'd say definitely give it a try. If you like your arcade sort of, well, it's like an F1 game, I suppose, but obviously it's IndyCar based and stock car, like NASCAR based. So there are a lot of oval races, but personally I like that style of game, and you know, I frequently watch, you know, IndyCar right back from like the early 90s up to, you know, current racing. It's far better than F1, you know, it's amazing. So, you know, it's bang up my street, so I was chuffed to get it, and great. Right, now we're on to Japanese games, and this first one I've picked up is another one of the CG portrait discs, and this is the last one I needed for the set, disregarding the Dural disc, which is crazily expensive. This is volume 6, which is Lao. They're all the same, it's just a short video disc about the Lao character. You know, nothing more to say really. It's just about 5 minutes long and that's it. It was a bonus on the UK version of Virtua Fighter Remix, but you bought them separately on Japanese. So I've got the full set now except Dural. Next we've got Worldwide Victory Goal. Now, there's loads of these Victory Goal games on Japanese, which is basically the Japanese version of Worldwide Soccer. And there's only like, there's 3 Victory Goals I think on PAL. But anyway, this is Worldwide Victory Goal, which I think is the UK version of Victory Goal, but for Japan. Because the worldwide sort of and international versions in Japan all play in English, because I think they're the English version games just for the Japanese machine. They're all very similar, but personally this is possibly my favourite. I mean, I'm not into football games, I don't buy them, but these worldwide soccer games, they are really arcade fun football games. Here's me saying I don't buy football games, I've bought 2 in this bloody episode. But anyway, Victory Goal, what is it now? As you'll see, obviously it shows its age, but it plays really well and don't look too bad, to be honest. And I mean, this is dirt cheap, I would imagine, if you want to buy the PAL version. Which is this is the first entry in the PAL series of Victory Goal stroke Worldwide Soccer. So if you want it, I bet it's under a £5. Then next up, I've wanted this one for ages. Unfortunately, it's very expensive, and with that said, I've gone for a repro, and I'm talking about GT24. Now this is one I didn't have back in the day, for whatever. It's another one of these I didn't even know existed back in the day. Whether I've moved on to the Dreamcast, I'm not sure. It's possible, and that's why I never played this. It's 1998, so it's possible. But anyway, a real fun arcade racer. There is an arcade version actually, which I played the other day for the first time, and that's really good. You know, but this Saturn version is great. Obviously it don't look as good as the arcade version, but it plays really well, and it's a real nice game. It's a shame it's about 80 quid if you want to buy a genuine one. I will keep a lookout, and I will buy a genuine one should one, you know, crop up at a more sensible price, because it's a really good game, which I hope shows on the footage. If there's a way you can play this and you like your arcade races, I strongly recommend you playing this one. It's good to play, and it looks nice for a Saturn game, to be honest, in my opinion. That's GT24. Then the next one, I remember playing this back in the day on the PlayStation. I don't think I ever played the Saturn version, and I've already got the Japanese PS1 version of this, and I've picked up Magical Hoppers. Unfortunately the cover is slightly faded, but it's not awful, but it is slightly faded. I think, is this the one? Oh no, it's not got the spine card. But anyway, those of you who don't know, this is the Japanese version of Pandemonium. Now I really quite like Pandemonium. And I liked it back in the day because it's a 2.5D platform game. So although it had the fancy 3D graphics everybody was craving back in the day, it played just like a 2D game, which was bang up my street. So I really didn't adopt well to 3D platform games, and even now I'm not crazy about them. I will play them, but much prefer a 2D style game. So this 2.5D works well for me. Like Klonoa, if you've played Klonoa, it's like a less polished version of Klonoa, I suppose. But it's a cracking game. Basic platformer, run along, jump on people, things' heads to kill them, get to the end of the level. Cracking game. There is a sequel on the PlayStation which isn't available on the Saturn, as far as I'm aware. I've never actually played the sequel. But yeah, if you can play Pandemonium in some way and you like Klonoa and 2.5D platform games, I'd strongly recommend that. Then next up, we've got only 3 to go, so you've nearly made it. Well done. Next up, we've got Wangan Dead Heat Plus. Is it? No. Wangan Dead Heat Rearrange. Now, I'd already got this. There's a regular Wangan Dead Heat, which actually Champion 2D Rob picked up recently in his last video. But by curious coincidence, I'd got this around the same time he must have got his. And this came via a link James at GameZone Birdroom sent me. I think it was an eBay auction. He sent me a link to. Yeah, it was. So yeah, thanks, mate. I won it. And please check out. I'm sure you have. If you're watching me, you're bound to be aware of James at the GameZone Birdroom. But yeah, please check him out. He's got an amazing channel, full of informative videos. I'll put a link in the description if I can remember. Anyway, I'm waffling on again. Wangan Dead Heat Rearrange. It's basically a racing game coupled with a bit of a dating game, where you select a girl at the start. You want to sort of, I presume, sit in the car with you, and then you've got to finish in the top 3 to get to the next round. If you don't, she's pissed off, and if you do, she smiles and you carry on. Basically, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's another cracking arcade style racer. You just race for 3 laps. You start 10th, and you've got to get into the top 3 to progress and impress the ladies. I'm not actually sure how it differs from the first game, to be honest. It seems very similar to me. Whether it is in fact the same, I don't know. But it comes in a double CD case, and you get an additional disc, which basically is about, because there's a lot of FMV cutscenes with the girls, and it seems the second disc basically seems to be a video about filming the girls. Whatever floats your boat, But it is in lovely condition, but it's kind of irrelevant, that second disc, to be honest. But it's a good game, either version. It don't matter in my opinion, whichever one you can get. But I'm pleased to have both. I'm sure hopefully you can see the footage, and you get a choice of they are real world cars. There's Toyota Supra, Nissan Skyline, and a Nissan 340Z or 300ZX, I think. Anyway, they are real world cars, and it does play nicely. Takes a bit of getting used to, but it does. You soon get to grips with it, and it is a good game. Definitely recommend it if you like your Japanese, arcadey, street racery type games. I suppose kind of like Initial D, that kind of thing, I suppose, really. Right, 2 to go, and we've got Dreamcast next, and I can't remember if I ever had this one back in the day, to be honest. I don't remember ever having it, or even playing it maybe. but I've played a couple since on the PS4, which kind of promoted me to get this. I've got Guilty Gear X. Now all the PS4 versions I've played have been really good, and this is no different. Not in bad condition, actually. It's got the spine card. As you'll see, great 2D fighter, you know, much in the vein of your classic Capcom 2D fighters. But it really looks and plays and sounds great. Thoroughly recommend it. Whatever version you can play, you know, if you can pick it up cheap, Guilty Gear is a great game series. You can't go wrong. I do think I tried the Wii version once, but I've got a feeling that it had got motion controls. So that may be the one fly in the ointment, which is Guilty Gear. But don't hold me to that. Guilty Gear X anyway. And the last one. Yes, you've made it if you're still awake, and I haven't bored you to death. It's a PS1 title, and this is my other sort of sideline in current kicks, if you like, along with the Saturn, and that is the shooter kick. And this is one I remember coming out more or less, I don't know if it was a launch title or very close to launch when the Japanese PS1 came out. But I never played it at the time because I wasn't big into shooters at the time. You know, it's only recently I've been getting into it. And I'm talking about Raiden. I know this is another pronunciation nightmare, isn't it? That Sean seems to have created. Is it Raiden? Is it Raiden? Who knows? But Raiden Project. And this contains both Raiden 1 and Raiden 2 on the one disc. And not in bad condition, even got the spine card. Unfortunately I can't show you very good footage of this because my Japanese PS2 is only connected to the CRT, and it's a pain to show it on a LCD where I can get the footage from. So the bit of footage I have put up, unfortunately, is not very good, purely because I'm capturing it off the CRT TV. But that said, anyway, it's a great game. This it's obviously available on many different formats. I'd kind of like the Jaguar version, if possible. But this is great. I personally prefer the first one to the second one. The second one's quite difficult for me and my limited shooting talents. But the first one I think is excellent. I'm sure the second one is as well if I could get good enough to play it. But that's Raiden Project anyway. And there we go. You've made it to the top of Mount Everest, which was this pickups episode. As I say, I've got quite a stack that's built up thanks to lack of time and too hot in the game room. So there'll probably be another pickups video next week. But let me know what you thought about any of that lot. Not the best bunch of games ever in that selection, but some decent stuff, hopefully, that you liked. But let me know anyway. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one, hopefully. Sayonara.